Radhe Radhe world raisers, we are still celebrating Radha Ashtami or Radhashtami. And today we're going to do that with Acharya Prashant. We covered twice on this channel and we came across this video and thought, why not?
Why not? We're still diving into Sanatana Dharma, learning more about Radha, of course. And Sabina just mentioned that, yeah, we don't have that big of a connection to Radha, and that's okay, because honestly we don't know that much about her just from what we watched in the Mahabharata, really. So yeah, we gotta learn more.
Absolutely. So hit the like button for Radha and for Lord Krishna, of course.
Pranam Acharya. I am from final year chemical engineering. My question is that what is the bond between goddess Radha and God Krishna? Like from holy books we have seen that they are the symbol of devotion. But nowadays whatever we watch on television and on wedding invitation cards, that they are the symbol of love. You know, behind existence of every divine existence, there is certain message which needs to deliver to the humanity. So I am not getting what kind of bond does it represent.
Interesting. That's a very good question.
Good question, yeah.
See, very, very ideally, very truly, the relationship between Sri Krishna and Radha has to be much the same as between Shiva and Shakti. That has to be the ideal relationship. Unfortunately, in popular culture, that relationship has been totally distorted.
Really?
Totally distorted. The way they are depicted these days is something that should not be acceptable at all.
Oh, how?
They have been presented as symbols of the usual carnal love between a man and a woman.
Really? Where?
Maybe that Radha Krishna serial.
All road Romeos love to call their sweethearts as Radha, which is quite unfortunate. No?
Okay.
When I talk about the shallowness of the usual kind of love, the man-woman kind, even teenagers come up and say, but if Sri Krishna could love Radha, why can't I? So all that is quite... you see, we could not take a lot of liberty with Shakti, because Shakti has been very properly documented in the scriptures. There is an entire stream, the Shakta Marg, that has its own scriptures, adherents, even its own Upanishads. So because that scriptural base is present, the scriptural rigidity and the discipline is there, so common imagination could not take much liberty with Shakti. So Shakti, therefore, fortunately, retains her dignity. But when it comes to Radha, you must know that there is not much scriptural base there.
Okay.
The character of Radha is not present in any of the Upanishads, obviously not in the Vedas. It is not sufficiently present even in the Puranas. With respect to the character of Sri Krishna, there are two Puranas mainly. You know of Puranic literature, Puran you know. There is the Srimad Bhagavad Puran and there is the Harivansh Puran. In these two, you have, these two are in fact dedicated to Sri Krishna. Even in these two, Radha is scarcely mentioned. So what happens? The scriptures are not talking of Radha at all. Even if they talk of Radha, it is somewhere in passing. What has that meant? That has meant that later on, all kinds of people could simply expand their imagination and say whatever they wanted about Radha.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now they cannot do this kind of a vile thing with Shakti or Parvati or Devi. Right? Because you have Upanishads present there, you have the Durga Sapshati there, you have other agamas of the Shakt Marg. So you cannot do this thing with Devi. But with Radha, all these people have simply imagined, built up, inflated and distorted her character. All kinds of just imaginative stories have come up, and because people don't read the scriptures, they believe in those stories.
Well, better be good stories.
Radha deserves a lot of dignity. The character of Radha Devi deserves a lot of respect. Unfortunately, you see what happens when people are, and from religious podiums, in religious gatherings, when they are talking of Krishna and Radha, the way the two of them are depicted and narrated, and the way their relationship is painted, is not dignified. It is also spiritually not edifying.
Really?
The way those dances and depictions happen, there is hardly any spiritual lesson in that. Which is not right. As I said right in the beginning of my response, ideally, the Krishna-Radha relationship should be depicted in the same way as the Shiv-Shakti relationship. Nothing short of that, nothing lower than that.
Yeah. I like Acharya Prashant. He's so direct and clear with his expression.
Yeah, and then referring to the scriptures, right? So he's got that knowledge base there. And so we don't know enough about what he's talking about this misrepresentation, but we could kind of see it just from the depictions of kind of what was happening, in the Mahabharata. There was the scene of
the Bia Chopra.
Yeah, the Krishna and Radha relationship with the gopis, and then the flute scenes. And then, so expanded on that, we actually got recommendations for that other show, that Radha Krishna serial, which a lot of people wanted us to watch, and then even many more told us not to watch it because it's all made up, right? It's fantasy. It's just expounding this narrative and this story of what could have happened among them. And then maybe that got into, of course, popular culture, and then a lot of people would have watched it in India, obviously. But if you're not holding on to the fact that this is made up, then you're maybe losing the divine relationship that he's talking about here. And in the sense that, so I can see those serials portraying them as this very, lovey-dovey, romantic, flirty, playful, like it would be on the level of material form, like a regular relationship. It would be incredibly beautiful and like amazing and what we strive to have in our relationships. Yeah. But at the same time, it's not as divine as it could be, like this transcendent without any sort of carnal desire or lust. It would just be this pure bonded connection, even there without any sort of flirting at all kind of thing, right? So then he's saying that maybe it got degraded to this, right? When he's talking about, husbands calling their wives Radha, in the sense that,
God, I would blush. I would feel so embarrassed because Radha is there. I'm like there.
Yeah, so I think maybe that's the sense of this disconnection, maybe between what it should be and then how some people view it nowadays, right? So I think the important lesson that he's getting across here is that we got to keep it extremely high, like beyond, right? It's not a physical relationship. It's a spiritual, divine connection, right? And then to keep Radha, upheld where she should be on the level of Lakshmi and Shakti, right? Saraswati. And then it didn't mention, but Ma Sita as well, right? And it seems that... So I think the whole Ramayana kept Ma Sita more pure and intact because she was definitely there and her character was very much expressed in the Ramayana, whereas in the Mahabharata, Radha wasn't so much. Like you said, she's not really mentioned in many of the scriptures. So if you're going to connect Sri Krishna to Radha, and there's nobody debating that theirs is the connection, right? Even though they weren't even together for their whole physical lifetime. Everybody, it was still known that, okay, they're the two, even though even Krishna had other wives, right? But Radha is still the one that is the divine connection to him. So you got to kind of contemplate that and be like, okay, well, if that's the case, that even if they weren't together for the remainder of the physical lifetime, yet their connection was supreme amongst Sri Krishna's connections, then it's obviously on another level. It's not physical. It's divine. That's how I understand it, just from my contemplations on it. Let me know what you guys think. Am I on the right track here? Do you agree with Acharya Prashant? And do we need to, think about a little deeper about the relationship between Sri Krishna and Radha, and to keep it supreme?
What is the benefit in contemplating Radha and Radha's true meaning?
Well, just to develop that, reconnection, especially when we just watched the video from Prabhupada saying that Sri Radha is a access point to Lord Krishna, same as Shakti would be to the highest as well, and all the divine feminine. So we got to keep in mind, Sri Krishna is an avatar, right? An incarnation, and then what goes along with him is the divine feminine as well. So we got to treat them as a unity, right? And then, so just to contemplate that, opens our heart and our mind to the supreme, right? To see them as beyond this physical realm, right? Not merely representations of maybe a more evolved human love relationship, right? So we're going beyond our human love connection to a spiritual, more high bonded connection. Yeah, great example from our friend yesterday. So we were at the Ganesh Puja.
Yeah.
And our friend there, he was telling us about him and his wife's relationship, and then us too. And then when you become married, he was like 1 + 1 = what? And I'm like,
And Roger,
2.
2. One wife and one husband equals 2.
2. He's like, no. 1 + 1 = 1.
Whoa.
Right? Because the husband and wife connection, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So yeah, we gotta evolve beyond our physicality to one heart, one mind, one soul, unity.
Beautiful.
Right? Divine, masculine, and feminine connected. Yeah, beautiful.
Radhe, Radhe.
Radhe, Radhe.
Hare Krishna. And Radhe Krishna, bless you all.
Oh, yes. And then just to touch on it, I know some people love those serials of Radha Krishna. And it's not to say that you can't, but to keep in mind that, to not degrade their relationship to like a lowly, mundane, material level, right? To understand that it's beyond whatever any sort of producers can create is kind of what I'm getting at. So some of these serials are very, very beautiful, but right, they're not it. We got to contemplate that. All right, thank you guys so much, and may you have the best, most joyful, incredible, uplifting, and spiritually advancing lifetime ever.
Wow. Boom.
Peace.